Okay, folks, we're here. Vybz Kartel appeal. Like, share, and subscribe. The appeal, UK's Privy Council. Watch the video, peep the thing, see how I got. I mean, free up, world boss. That's what I was screaming today. But let's watch the video and see what's up.
A fifth defendant was unanimously acquitted. Juror X was immediately arrested and was later convicted of attempting to pervert the course of justice. There was no evidence to connect his activities with the appellants. The appellants appealed against their conviction to the Court of Appeal of Jamaica, which dismissed their appeals. The Court of Appeal granted permission to appeal to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council on 3 grounds, which were, first, that the trial judge failed properly to inquire into allegations of juror misconduct. Secondly, that the trial judge departed from standard practice in inviting the jury to retire to consider their verdict so late in the day, putting undue pressure on them to reach a verdict. And thirdly, that the trial judge erred in admitting the telecommunications data because it had been obtained in breach of the Interception of Communications Act and the Charter.
Okay, so they're trying to fight 3 things. Sounds like the jury for 2 of the things, and then the phone tap right now. So that's what they're fighting in the Privy Court. And the juror, there's something going on with the juror there, but also the phone tap they're trying to fight. I doubt they can fight that, but the jury thing, to see how the trial went, you know, if the trial was done proper. Because if the trial wasn't done proper, there's a fight. You have a right to appeal. I don't know law, but that's what I think. All right.
The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council has unanimously concluded that the appeals should be allowed and the appellant's convictions should be quashed on the ground of juror misconduct, and that the case should be remitted to the Court of Appeal of Jamaica to decide whether to order a retrial of the appellants for the murder of Clive Williams.
Retrial.
The Board has considerable sympathy with the dilemma faced by the trial judge on the final day of a long and complex trial. Following the allegations of bribery, he had either to continue with the 11 remaining jurors or to discharge the jury. Despite this, the Board considers that the approach taken by the judge was a material irregularity in the course of the trial, which makes it necessary to quash the convictions.
Ooh, okay, what did he do?
Reasons.
What did the judge do that was irregular? That's what I want to hear right now. This is what they're going to go through. What did the judge do that was irregular that should quash the trial?
First, the direction to the jury on the final day was inadequate to save the situation. The judge simply reminded the jury that they had sworn or affirmed that they would return verdicts in accordance with the evidence they had heard in court. The judge did not refer to the alleged bribery, of which, if the allegations were true, the jurors were already aware.
Okay. So if the judge was aware of the bribery, it should have been called right there. But the judge didn't call it and say there was bribery. He proceeded with the trial.
Secondly, the trial continued with the allegedly corrupt juror serving as one of its 11 members. In the Board's view, there should have been no question of allowing juror X to continue to serve on the jury. Allowing juror X to remain on the jury is fatal to the safety of the convictions which followed. It was an infringement of the appellant's fundamental right.
Okay. So, they shouldn't have allowed that compromised jury member to even go along in the trial, but they allowed him to continue to be one of the jurors. So, number 2.
To a fair hearing under the Jamaican Constitution.
So, therefore, it wasn't fair. You know what I mean? They already knew he was compromised, and they went through and still went through with the trial. I mean, whether whose favor it was in, it doesn't matter. It's still not fair. Period. They should have sent that juror member away. They should have got a new jury set.
Thirdly, the judge should have considered whether the remaining jurors might have become, consciously or unconsciously, prejudiced for or against one or more of the appellants as a result of juror X's behavior. For example, there was a danger that the attempted bribe could have made the other jurors overcompensate, consciously or unconsciously, if they assumed that the offer must have come from one of the appellants and that therefore they must be guilty. The judge took no account of this risk.
Okay. So, for the fact that the other jurors were aware that there was a possibility that this juror could have gotten a bribe that could possibly change the way they're looking at the case. Maybe they're feeling like something's going on here. It's too, they don't know what's going on. It might change the way they view the case as far as just having a clear head and judging the case for what the facts are. That might distract them from the real thing of the case. But they still proceeded to go on with the case knowing all these factors could affect the jury.
The board is very mindful of the serious consequences which may flow from having to discharge a jury shortly before the end of a long and complex criminal trial. It is also very conscious of the danger of deliberate attempts to derail criminal trials by engineering situations in which it is necessary to discharge the jury. In England and Wales, there is legislation which allows a judge in certain situations to discharge a jury because of jury tampering and to continue the trial by judge alone. There is no such legislation in Jamaica. It follows that there...
Okay, so in England, I believe what he said was in England you could change the jury and vote on judge alone. The judge alone can make the decision whether it's innocent or guilty. If you want to change, if there's but in Jamaica, they can't change it. The judge alone can't do it. If they choose to do it by jury, they have to do it by jury. The judge alone can't do it. And seeing that the jury was already tampered, it's you still have to do it by jury. You can't do it by judge alone because it's in Jamaica. There's no rules that you make it by judge alone.
There will be occasions where, as in this case, a court will have no alternative but to discharge a jury and end the trial in order to protect the integrity of the system of trial by jury.
Okay, so it sounds like if this happens, they have to discharge the trial. I forgot, I'm gonna rewind it, but they have to throw away the thing and hold on, let's go back and see before I talk, you know what I mean? Let's go back. See what he said.
And end the trial in order to protect the integrity of the system of trial.
So to protect the integrity, they have to end the trial. So that means it's done. They can't pursue anything because there's no integrity in that trial. That trial is fraudulence. Something's going on, so they have to just end that one straight. Let me play it one more time. Just let me see. Let me go back a bit more. Let's do this again.
It follows that there will be occasions where, as in this case, a court will have no alternative but to discharge a jury and end the trial in order to protect the integrity of the system of trial by jury. In view of its conclusion on the issue of juror misconduct, the Board holds that it is not necessary to express a concluded view on the other two grounds of appeal. For these reasons, the appellant's appeals should be allowed. The court is now adjourned.
So it sounds like Vybz are allowed to appeal. Let's go on and see, like, the grounds of appeal, because of strictly the way the jury, the they proceeded with the case, because even though they knew the jury was tampered with or not. Watch out, them English people. Yo, and them people are judging Vybz Kartel's life, eh? Look at them. See the judge there? I mean the lawyer. Okay, what does that even say? Hold on. What does that say? Kumal Y Pence. What language is that? Portuguese? Yeah, I might look that up, but that's the verdict for Vybz Kartel. Well, not the verdict, but the end of the privy council. So to me, what it looked like, the whole trial was mashed up, and because of the juror was tampered with, and they still proceeded with the case. So why did they find him guilty, knowing that there was possibility of one juror being tampered with, whether it was for Vybz Kartel's side or the other side. So they should have got rid of that jury member, but they continue with it. So they shouldn't have done that. So in that case, free up World Boss, because that's not a fair trial. You know what I mean? Yeah, and you have no evidence. I didn't really hear the case, but it sounds like you have no evidence. All right. Well, now there's no evidence. It wasn't a fair trial, and at least if worst comes to worst, at least he gets another trial. Other than that, you throw away the thing. If you don't have enough evidence, don't come back to trial. Free up World Boss. You understand? Free up the boss, because like the trial was mash up. Bring something new evidence. You know what I mean? The man was due for a fair trial. Time to free him up now. He already done 13 years. Free him up now. That's enough. Him and the man them. Not only Vybz Kartel alone. The rest of them. Unless they can prove them other thing. Unless they can prove they did the slewings. Free them up, Edgin. Because that's the law of the land. You know what I mean? Free up World Boss. Let me pause that video now.